What is this called in America? Well, whatever you say, it's probably not the word that I'm thinking of, unless you live in Philadelphia.
I don't know what we know, all I know is what we don't know.
In this video, you're going to hear 25 hilariously weird regional words that are impossible to understand unless you come from a certain place. See if you can guess their meaning and whereabouts they are from. And just to make things interesting, I will even confess what us Brits would say instead. And let's see who is more gobsmacked, you or me.
This is why I can't have nice things. Because there's Buffleheads.
Bufflehead? What on earth is a Bufflehead? We really should be bringing back old-fashioned insults, shouldn't we? Especially when they sound like a character from Harry Potter. If someone calls you a Bufflehead, they are comparing you to a duck. But not just any duck, a Bufflehead duck, which is known for being awkward and a little ridiculous. Forget the bird though, let's see what the dictionary says. Bufflehead can describe someone who has a large head or is a heavy, stupid fellow. Well, that's not very nice, is it?
Both are very grandiose names for the puffy powdered donuts.
Yeah, more like Buffalo Head. But I wouldn't worry too much. The only place you're in danger of being called a Bufflehead is in Pennsylvania. The closest British word that comes to mind is probably a muppet. If you're acting daft, you are a muppet, something that I would know absolutely nothing about. My name is Olly Richards, by the way, and if you can't tell, I am British, and as an author and linguist, a lot of American words are very amusing to me, but I think you'll find the British equivalents equally strange, like the next one.
I picture it being something done within the home.
If you want to know how to speak Southern Appalachian, well, you have to learn the word Piddlin, or they won't let you in, or so I've heard. But what does it actually mean? Well, apparently it fits best in a sentence like, quit your piddling and help me with this. But I'm going to need more context to get the actual word.
To piddle means you're not really doing anything useful. You're just kind of fooling around, messing around, dilly-dallying, twiddling your thumbs. You're not doing nothing important. What have you been up to today? Nothing much, just kind of piddling around.
Ah, okay, I've got it. Faffing. Us Brits use it all the time. Stop faffing about and get to work. By the way, keep your ears open for a very cool little resource I'm going to give away in this video. It's something to do with all of these words.
The CEO strolled into the meeting like a high muckamuck, expecting everyone to hang on his every word.
This one is pretty interesting. High muckamuck. Ever heard it? Well, it comes from a Chinook jargon word that used to mean food or plenty to eat. The Chinook were famous traders, and Chinook jargon was a pidgin language that they used with other tribes so that they could understand each other when trading. And at the time, somebody with plenty to eat could afford to feed others and gain status in the community. So now a person with high muckamuck is someone who thinks they are more important than they actually are. Very strange comparison, but you'll probably only hear it in Washington or Oregon. I'm guessing for England, something like a big shot, maybe? Yeah.
There are dingbatters and then there are dingbatters.
Yes, there's real ones.
And then there are
ones
blank,
that you
blank
just,
dingbatters.
Yeah.
I know this one. Pretty sure I used it in one of my Guess the Accent videos. A dingbatter is what the locals in a certain part of North Carolina call an outsider. It's what they call me if I were to go there, or as the rest of us might say, a tourist. It's kind of a cheeky mix of humour and annoyance, and if you've ever been called one, tell us in the comments. But it does have a fun origin story. It actually comes from a sitcom in the 1970s called All in the Family. Some of you may remember it. I don't, of course. You might. The character Archie Bunker often called his wife Edith a dingbat to suggest that she lacked common sense.
Who am I? The dingbat.
And when the islanders of the Outer Banks caught on, they turned it into Dingbatter to describe the clueless tourists.
Is a dingbatter. He married a down east woman. He's from Wisconsin. Now, this is what we consider a dingbatter.
Charming name, and I don't think us Brits really have a matching word, but I guess there's an even bigger burn coming to the Outer Banks.
That's Cattywampus. That is messed up.
This one is awesome. Have you ever heard the wampus cat at night? Well, nobody has. They say that if you hear it, you'll die. It's a local campfire tale you tell the kids while someone else screamed in the dark. So I looked into it. The wampus cat was a fierce beast. It's a legendary creature from the 19th century, and some people say it was actually a Cherokee death cat that protected them. A very bad kitty indeed, and somewhere along the way, a word came out of it.
Corey, I brushed up against that picture when I come in the door, and it's all cattywampus. Do you think you could fix it for me? Thanks.
Got it. Cattywampus. It means something is crooked or out of place, and in North Carolina, even a person can be cattywampus. Well, I hate to admit it, but us Brits have a very weird word for this, which is skewiff. The picture frame's all skewiff. Don't look at me, I never invented that. I would probably say wonky. I think wonky's way better, don't you?
Sneetered.
Right here is a rare gem. Sneetered is something you don't want to be. And if you use it, you're probably from, you got to guess? You can pause for your guesses, by the way, while you think. I don't mind. Well, it's from Kentucky. It's what happens when someone pulls a fast one on you and you walk away thinking, I should have known better. You've been sneetered, and apparently there's even a villain in this scenario, a sniter. You get sneetered by a sniter. Sounds like something out of a Dickens novel. Beware of the snitter, he'll sneeter you out of your house and home. It comes from the Scots-Irish word sneet, meaning to cheat or deceive. So I guess we know what those card-playing settlers were up to. In England, we just say duped, but sneetered is way more fun, and the next time someone scams me, I'm stealing this word. Speaking of which, if you want to remember all of these great words, maybe whip them out at your next dinner party to impress or confound people, I've put all of them together into a free PDF for you, and I've even thrown in a bunch of extras that didn't make it into this video. If you like this PDF, it's completely free. Just scan this QR code with your phone or look out for the link in the video description. It will take you directly to my story learning kit, and inside that kit, in the bonus section, you'll see a PDF called Guide to the Weirdest American Words. It's right there. It's loads of fun and totally free. Don't miss it. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description.
Don't worry about that dude. He's all hat and no cattle.
Cowboys, you nailed it with this one. All hat and no cattle. Imagine a flashy cowboy hat but no actual ranch. Just empty words.
'Cause you're all hat and no cattle.
It's the perfect way to describe someone who talks big but doesn't deliver. The opposite of me. And as you probably guessed, it comes from Texas. Sounds a lot like what we say in England, all bark and no bite. I think ours is good too, but the next one, no British person has ever, even once said.
Let me just show you. Daggum, it's slicker than snot out here. Well, daggum, it's hotter than Billy Goat's butt in a pepper patch.
All I'm going to say is you Southerners are just way too polite to use profanity, aren't you? Dadgummit is a very Southern way to replace swear words.
And then like yesterday, I come walking up under this 2x4, smashed my forehead, and I expressed my frustration with a dadgummit.
Love it. Hilariously outdated, of course, and yes, it's all over TikTok, so you all are using it, especially if you come from Alabama, Mississippi, or Georgia.
And I think it's pretty daggum cool that y'all thought I was worthy of a follow. You can't even get girls. You're plumb dadgum raggedy.
Okay, they lost me there, but even your cartoons are catching on. Well, there's no real British equivalent, but it sounds a lot like the way posh people say, oh, dash it all.
Oh, dash it all, John.
Great movie. What's next?
Yeah, it's broken and I'll get out.
Here's a phrase that cranks everything up to 11. All-git-out. It's what you say when you need to emphasize something with a little flair or avoid saying the word hell, for example. Apparently you can tack it onto just about anything. He was funny as all get out. It was hot as all get out. I was surprised as all get out.
I'm hungry as all get out right now.
And if you didn't know, git is just the Texas pronunciation for get. In the UK, a git is something else altogether. And all get out, well, it definitely beats our boring British equivalent of to the nth degree.
That's Larruping and easy to cook.
Here's one for the foodies, and forgive me if I pronounce this wrong. What do you say when food tastes so good that ordinary words like delicious just won't cut it? I'm sure you have a great word in your state, but if you're from Arkansas or Oklahoma, that's when you break out Larruping. That apple pie was Larruping good.
Oh, these fried taters are Larruping.
It's an oldie from the early 1900s. It started with a rather mysterious word, larrup, that meant to beat or whip something, but nobody knows exactly where that came from. Anyway, stick an ing on the end and you get a made-up word to describe something so good it beats everything else.
If you're out and about and you taste something that's mighty tasty, then tell whoever cooked it, say, this is really Larruping.
But London will look at me funny if I say it, even though we were actually the first ones to use it. So I think I will stick with cracking, as in, this is a cracking cup of tea right here.
What in tarnation anarchy? I don't even know what that means, but I love it.
I love it too. No, man, not anarchy, the other word.
What in tarnation?
Of all the words in this list, I'm going to guess this is the one that you might know. It's another one of those words Southerners softened to sound more child-friendly, and it's perfectly fine to say tarnation to express your shock, surprise, frustration, really any emotion. It's classic Americana, and as us Brits would politely say, blimey.
Okay, is that a glove box or is it a jockey box?
In England, we call it a glove box, and in America, you call it a glove box or a glove compartment. But if you're driving through Montana or Idaho, don't be surprised if you hear something else entirely.
Hey, dude, you want to hand me a napkin out of the jockey box? The what? The compartment right in front of you, dude. The jockey box.
Wait, jockey box? But isn't that where we put the beer? Well, yes, it is, but those upper Rocky Mountain folk decided to go in a whole different direction to the rest of us. The concept came from the old horse-drawn wagons. A wagon had what was called a jockey box under the driver's seat, and if anything happened on the road, the rider could always find something to fix it in the jockey box. And when wagons became cars, someone changed the name to glove box.
Well, I did say not everybody keeps gloves in there.
It was a race car driver named Dorothy. You've got to pause on her list of glove box essentials. It's so good. I mean, I keep my gloves in the glove box. Do you not? Anyway, if you lived in the mountains, well, the mountain folk just weren't worried about keeping up with trends, and good for them.
Those piccolo players, they can be so highfalutin.
You know when someone thinks they're fancier than they really are?
And the McDonald lady was all highfalutin in her new car.
She got high in her new car?
Well, here's a great word you can use to poke fun at people who put on airs. Say you have a cousin who's always quoting Shakespeare at people, using words like perspicacious a bit too much. It's silly, really, and they're definitely too big for their britches.
Highfalutin, that's like, you know, someone who's a bit too fancy.
Exactly.
Then you can say, all right, Mr. Highfalutin, calm down. One theory is that it came from a Yiddish word that means nonsense, but maybe it just comes from high flying or both. In England, we say hoity-toity, don't we?
We've travelled all the way from the UK to America to try Raising Cain!
Here's one with some biblical flair. Now, I'm not talking about the eating place. It literally means conjuring up the murderous spirit of Cain.
Has anybody here ever gone out and raised Cain?
Oh boy, I'm going to have trouble coming up with the British version of this. So, raising Cain is Alabama slang for stirring up trouble, usually the kind that makes everyone laugh. Could be anything from a wild night out to kids running through the house. If you're raising Cain, you're having a great time and your mum's probably yelling, "What in tarnation?" But it all started as a joke in a newspaper in 1840. See, in the Bible, Cain was a guy who killed his younger brother, and the newspaper joke went, why have we every reason to believe that Adam and Eve were both rowdies? Because they both raised Cain. They made jokes like this in the 1800s, you see. Wow. Come on, who wouldn't want to raise a little Cain every now and again? British equivalent? Yeah, well, no. Kicking up a fuss on the rampage?
Right out straight.
Right out straight.
Well, it doesn't mean you're driving in a straight line, so what is it? It's about being so busy you're practically running around in circles. So when your neighbour asks, how's it going? And you're too frazzled to explain, you can just say, I've been right out straight. Although you might do it in a slightly different accent. Translation is, please don't make me list all the things that I've done today. As for me, I'm just going to say something like, I've been flat out, you know. Been flat out. It's kind of boring. But my next word is about puppies, so don't go away.
Puppy chow. Now, no, we're not eating dog food.
All right, this one threw me for a loop. Puppy chow. Is it dog food? Puppy food? No. It turns out it's an actual dessert that humans eat. So think cereal covered in chocolate and peanut butter, with enough powdered sugar to make your teeth hurt. Midwesterners, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Puppy chow. All you need is Chex, peanut butter, chocolate chips, and enough powdered sugar to cause a mini snowstorm in your kitchen.
On second thoughts, maybe I meant a sugar bomb disguised as a snack. Well, I believe the rest of America calls it Muddy Buddies, although the Midwesterners on Reddit think that you are all crazy. We're all much too healthy to eat something like that in the UK, of course.
It's kind of sassy. That dog don't hunt.
What's this about, a lazy hunting dog? Well, not quite. But also, yes, that dog don't hunt is another way to say, nice try, but no. In other words, your excuse or your idea is not going to work. Like when someone says, I can't come to work today, my internet's down. Well, you can hear Call of Duty in the background. Well, I'm sorry, but that dog don't hunt.
One pristine bullet, that dog don't hunt.
I probably don't need to tell you that it's from the South, right? But where, in reality, it started was Texas.
Excuse me? It says Texas ain't right. Well, it's not. Texas is the only thing that's right here.
It came from hunting culture, where a dog that doesn't hunt is useless. Sounds like it should be a British dog, doesn't it? But in Britain, we'd say, that's not gonna fly.
Are you like, enough? My boy's wicked smart.
What is the absolute best way in the entire United States to say something is extremely good or cool, even though it means the opposite of anything good and literally started with witches? Come on, you've got this. I'm throwing you an easy one here.
Hey, Bob, you gotta try some of this chowder. It's wicked pissa.
It is a classic Mainer that you absolutely have to do with a wicked awesome Boston accent. It's like a rule or something. And it means very or extremely, as in, that's wicked cool. If you're confused because Boston is in Massachusetts, well, don't be. Massachusetts used to be part of Maine. Either way, use wicked if you want everyone to think that you are from New England. You still with me? But I bet you don't know why they started saying this in the first place. Well, I'm not joking when I tell you, wicked dates back to the Salem witch trials. That's right, it was used to label untrustworthy witches, which really meant people with sicknesses like epilepsy, and for whatever reason, it never lost popularity in New England. Unlike Old England, where we just say, wicked. Yeah, we say it too, we stole it from you guys, except here it means cool. So maybe you stole it from us?
The school play was a real Whoopensocker. Everyone was on their feet, clapping by the end.
Here is a great word you can use for anything extraordinary. A massive storm, an epic party, a great game. And I think it might be my favourite so far. It means something so amazing, you need a made-up word to describe it. Did you see that touchdown? That was a real Whoopensocker of a play. So, Wisconsinites, I need to know who came up with Whoopensocker and what were they drinking at the time, because apparently that drink was a Whoopensocker too. A little bit like this YouTube channel. Smash the like button if you agree. Best British equivalent I can think of is, well, it's a corker. It's an absolute corker, but it doesn't quite have the same pizzazz, does it? Whoopensocker, you win this round.
So the way I heard it is my freshman year roommate in college. I was saying I was going to do something. She was excited about it, and she said, "Oh, Sice." And I went, "What did you just say to me?"
Oh, Sice.
This word is confusing the heck out of me, and you will never guess where it's from, but please try in the comments. So, Sice, well, it means someone exaggerated something, as in she sized it. But you can also use it if you want a person to get you something, as in, hey, can you size me that? But then other people go and use it to mean pumped or psyched.
So I'm gonna say sized means tired, maybe.
I don't even know what is it. Some food?
So which is it? Well, apparently it started in Maryland, but it's now mostly used only in Washington, D.C., and it comes from mixing two words, excited and psyched. But us Brits have missed that boat completely. We have no word whatsoever for this.
And not even really knowing what that meant until I grew up and realized that, you know, being a proper Southern lady, she would never say, "I swear."
The people down in Florida and Georgia must be very creative, because instead of normal swearing, they decided to evoke the Southern Suwannee River that runs through these two states and ended up with a creative twist on "I swear." Well, Swanee, if you are like me, a simple "good heavens" will do, at least in polite company.
Bloody hell! Yeah, bet he can hear me.
So what do you get when you mix snow and dirt together? You get Snirt!
That accent really gives the region away. Welcome to the upper Midwest, where snow doesn't stay pristine for long, especially if you are in one particular place.
Kelloland News chief photographer Kevin Kiergaard shows you the Snirt Fest celebration.
In Minnesota, there is a condition known as Snirt. It can happen anywhere. There's a mixture of snow and dirt, but up there they have this black topsoil blowing from semi-frozen fields onto the snow, and you end up with some really dirty snowdrifts. I've been warned that it's kind of gross, but hey, at least there's a word for it, right? In Britain, yeah, I think we just call it a mess.
I just felt one right there on my forehead. Yeah, it's gonna be a gully washer.
Gully washer comes from Indiana, but it isn't the word. It's the clue. You can use it if you like, but next time you get caught in a downpour without an umbrella, I found an even better thing you can say.
Hey y'all, I'm canceling my yard sale for in the morning. It's supposed to be a frog strangler.
That is more like it. Comes all the way from 1872. A frog strangler is when the rain is so heavy it could strangle a frog. And according to Sean on TikTok, when it's real bad, it's a gully washing frog strangler. Or we say in England, it's a proper soaker, isn't it? It's raining cats and dogs. It's pouring. I better not say the other thing that we would say. But whatever you call it, a big rain leads to a very good excuse.
That something's going to happen, you know, barring some sort of natural disaster or barring something that you can't help. But you never know, the creek might rise and then you might not be there.
You've got to love a perfect excuse you can make in advance. It's what you say when you're making plans but want to leave some wiggle room. Well, I'll get it done tomorrow if the creek don't rise. Appalachia can have some unpredictably extreme rainfall that messes up your plans, so we get it.
It just means, God, I hope that the thing that I just said comes true. We're going to have a good harvest this year, God willing, and the creek don't rise.
Very southern, obviously. I can hardly see a New Yorker saying, if the creek don't rise. As for me, well, I'd say, if all goes to plan, it's a bit dull, isn't it? We definitely need to work on that one. If the Thames don't rise, forget it.
I just forgot my thingamajig.
Now, if you're still wondering what this thing is right here, well, it's not a thingamajig, it's a Jawn. At least in Philadelphia, it's a Jawn. Every language has one of these catch-all terms for any person or thing, and when you forget what it's called, you say, "Can you pass me that Jawn?" I just call it a thingy, which makes a lot more sense, although I guess it depends on what accent you have, because there are some accents even you won't understand, just like the 7 really weird American accents that you can check out right here in this video.